Okay, looks like we are live. Welcome back. This is a
It
long time.
was kind of a crazy like pre-setup,
It was. It was a bit of
but
a
I would
crazy.
expect nothing less.
It was, yeah. So, uh, welcome back to Films and Fandoms. I'm
Yay!
Kaylee, and we're joining us. Finally,
It's
we
been a
have
while.
it. It's been a long time coming, but we have Alex is back.
Yeah, I've had some
Alex is
stuff
back.
going on.
Nah, yeah, it's okay. We've all had stuff going on. So did I. That's why. Uh, this is mostly sweet tea. Mostly. I'm getting just a splash. Anyways, show. All right. So on tonight's episode of Films and Fandoms, we are back. The dynamic duo has returned. The Chaos Gremlins. We're going to be talking season 2, episode 7 of Leverage, the Two Live Crew Job. And this is a kind of a fitting episode for Alex to make her grand return because it's one of our favorite episodes. And if you know us, you know. And if you know, you know. So, real quick before we get started on this episode, I actually want to thank our sponsor, Fairy Pines. He was sponsoring this podcast by purchasing the streamer that we used to make this account. So shout out to Perry Pines, and you can listen to Perry Pines in Bigfoot Country 102.1 WIFT at lovemybigfoot.com or the Love My Bigfoot app. And you can listen to him from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the weekdays. Not only is he a good friend, but he's been helping me a lot becoming the podcaster I am today. So, yeah, go show him some love. And again, I wanted to end, as always, I want to thank our sponsor, nafco.org. And if you want to support the podcast, some of a bitch, I forgot to have that set up. But if you want to go support the podcast, you can buy a coffee on Ko-Fi, which is Films and Fandoms. And when you buy a coffee, it goes straight to both me and Alex, supporting us on our journeys as a content creator and through life. So, yeah. If yeah, any coffee appreciated. So yeah, let's get into this episode, shall we? It's like we're doing this at 8 o'clock at night. Well, it's 8 o'clock my time. It's what 7 your time.
Yep.
So again, the episode we're going to be talking about today is the two live crew job. And the summary for this episode is the team unexpectedly goes head to head against a rival crew of thieves that are going after the same painting they are trying to recover for their clients, an older brother and sisters whose father died retrieving the painting during World War II. Uh, and the director for this episode is the one, the only, our good buddy, and my pen pal on TikTok, Mr. Dean Devlin. The writers for this episode are John Rogers, Chris Downey, and Amy Berg. So we open up this episode with, of course, the client meeting, which actually, if you think about it, this is kind of a unique way to start off this episode. As usually when we start off a leverage episode, it's we meet the victim and then we go to the client meeting. But in this case, we do the client meetings. It's like the client meeting slash meet the victim in one. As Nate and Sophie are meeting with this older brother and sister duo who are like the cutest old people. Like, where was see just like an old person and be like, oh, they're so adorable. That's these two. Okay, the woman, she's like, oh, she has like a lot of gray hair, like very put together, very prim and proper. And the gentleman, he's just like the sweetest looking old man. He's got like the round glasses. He's adorable. But we find out that they run an organization that helps recover art that was looted by the Nazis during World War II, which is actual history. The Nazis stole priceless works of art during World War II. And in this case, the specific painting that they're looking for is a Gustav Klimt that their client's father had smuggled out before he unfortunately got caught and was most likely executed for trying to smuggle the painting out. And the brother and sister duo have come to Nate for their extra legal assistance because basically they discovered that some douchey software bad guy has bought the painting and is refusing to return it even though they've like proven provenance. And a little interesting tidbit. So Gustav Klimt was indeed a real painter, Austrian painter specifically, who was a who uh, he died just before World War II, but like he's one of like the classic artists of his time. And his paintings is famous for landscapes and let's just say erotic paintings of the female body. And if you look closely enough at the painting that they are finding in this episode, it's actually a painting called Judith 1. And I have a painting. Well, I found a Wikipedia article. Where oh wait, can I even oh wait, I don't think I can share this painting. Yeah, I don't think I can present my screen. Um because bits are out. So that goes that idea. Because I don't want my video taken down because I show bits. So we're just moving on.
After the podcast, if you want to go look it up, go look it up yourself.
Yeah, I gave you the name of the painting. It's Judith 1. But yeah, I can't present this image. I can't show what the painting looks like. But if you see the leverage think of the leverage episode they like made like because it shows her have like a robe on, but like in the actual painting, at least the version of the painting that's on Wikipedia, it's more see-through. So I think for the leverage episode, they just darkened up the robe.
Yeah, they did some video magic and actually like made it
I think
look
they
like a
just
piece of clothing.
which is fine. But continuing on a bit, you can kind of see that Sophie's taking this one a bit personally, as she is the one that's like, we're gonna get this painting back. And I'm wondering if this was the hint to that we get as Sophie's kind of past, where like she probably would be doing like similar things, recovering like stolen art from during like World War II. Well, art that was stolen during World War II. I think that's what she mainly enjoyed. I think that was what she did a lot. But moving on. So I don't think we actually get the intro because I don't actually remember seeing the intro. But because we cut immediately to the con, the team's all coming in dressed as cops. Nate and Sophie as the lead, like detectives. And so their plan is to basically go in, cut a wall around the painting, cut a wall or cut a hole behind the painting or in the wall behind the painting, pull it out, and then be done because they can't get around the security system. And of course, as Hardison's explaining why they can't get around the security system without cheating, we see the rival team stealing the painting. And we will do introductions in just a moment. But yeah, so basically, when Hardison or when Elliot pulls out like this chunk of wall, look, people forget that Elliot is actually strong as hell for being a short motherfucker. And I say that with affection because Wolverine is also in the
True.
comics a short motherfucker.
I mean, and
I
when
say
I
that
remember when I watched this episode for the first time, when that happened, I went, "Holy shit!"
I say this as
I'm
someone who actually
very.
got to meet Christian K.
I, I was
I'm
just.
a short motherfucker too, so that's why I could say get away with saying this. I'm a short motherfucker. You're you you're a short motherfucker too. So you could
Yep,
also actually
I'm tiny.
Alright. So, but what's funny is the painting. So when they like Hart Elliot turns like the wall to reveal the painting, it's not the Klimt, it's dogs playing poker.
Why did I think of Charlie Hudson just now?
Oh, because I mean they just
Because he
premiered
was
season
gifted.
8,
Yep.
which I don't even know why they call it Hudson and Rex when there's no freaking Hudson. Yeah,
Yeah, I refuse to watch the new.
I'm not watching the new season.
But I think I might just watch like one episode just to kind of
I mean,
support the other cast
I
members.
that's my ways of watching the episode anyways, where it won't like go to ratings if I watched it. But like
But
I'm not
like
I can't
for me,
watch.
I want to just to support the other actors that
Yeah, yeah.
are part of the main cast because they are still part of the show. They're still on
Yeah,
the
and I'm
show.
sure if they had
Even
anything to do with it,
yeah,
would have come back.
but yeah, in Charlie's old place, he has a picture of
He
dogs
has
playing poker on his wall.
poker. Yes, but
Ah,
yeah. So carrying on with this episode, so we
that's
don't get
funny.
yes. Of course, they all got to go back to the bar, and Nate's like, "Okay, I just had to call our clients, explaining that we couldn't retrieve their dead father's painting. What the fuck happened?" He doesn't word it like that, but that was the tone of voice he used. Was
He's
what
like, what plan? What part of the plan went wrong? What happened?
of course,
He was so
our
confused.
rival team beat us to the punch. And of course, Parker's thinking secret Nazis. Because Parker, we know she loves conspiracy theories. So, of course, she would go straight to secret Nazis. Anyways, so Elliot's like, but they're also like, where's Sophie? And so Elliot like tries calling her and is like, she's not picking up. Let me try comms. So like he puts the comm in his ear. And it's like, hey, like Sophie, where you at? And then you just see him freeze for a minute. It's like, oh, that's a good reason. And it's because Sophie's holding a bomb inside of a flower vase.
Oh
And
no.
of course, they find out, Hardison identifies the bomb as a motion sensor bomb, which means as soon as Sophie moves the pot or moves the vase, it's gonna go boom. The water displaces and it's gonna go boom. And of course Parker tries poking the bomb and Nate immediately grabs her wrist. Kind of hard. And so it's like, God, don't be poking at the motion sensitive bomb. And they actually end up using instant pudding in order to thicken
That's
up the
some MacGyver shit right there.
and it actually kind of makes sense because if you think about it, adding
it
the
would thicken it up to where it wouldn't jostle as much.
which
But you
allows
have to admit that's some MacGyver shit right there.
some MacGyver shit. And they can't I mean, because Hardison can't stick his hand in there to defuse the bomb. He's going to displace the water, and Sophie can't I don't see. I don't think Sophie could gently place it down.
Because her hands would shake and it would displace it
Then,
enough, it would cause it to vibrate to make it go off.
no matter I mean, Sophie would have to be now. If it was someone like Eliot holding it, I feel like he has enough control over his
He could do
adrenaline.
it.
He could
He
do
could
it.
do it.
Sophie does not have that type of discipline when it comes to her body's reactions to stressful stimuli. I mean, she has the mental, sure, but she's quick think on her feet, but she doesn't have the mental discipline to be able to, or she doesn't have the physical discipline enough to be able to stop the adrenaline in order to set the bomb down and then run.
Yep.
So, and of course, yeah, she has to kind of lift it up and then drop it, allowing her to run. And of course, the team's all we're going to stay, we're going to stay. And so it's get out or I'm going to blow yourself myself. So just get out. And of
She
course,
went protective mother mode. She's like, get out and save yourself at least.
Of course, they immediately all go to not self-sacrificial, but
It's like, no,
no,
we're
we're
gonna
not.
stay here whether you like it or not.
No, get the fuck out. Okay. And as I kind of just said, Sophie lifts up the bomb, drops it, and then or when she lets go, she runs. And we see her apartment blow up. And then we cut to a funeral where Eliot says some nice words about Catherine. And then Parker and Hardison also say some nice words. Eliot kind of says Catherine was his sister. And then Parker kind of goes he's like, "But it's you're I was just talking to you, and now they're dead." She's like, "Can you hear me?" And then Hardison has to go and be all she was trying to say is sometimes friends are the only family you got. And I said this once, and I'll say it again. Dean Devlin is the master of the found family trope.
Yeah.
There ain't no one who does found family like Dean Devlin, I swear to God. And just that moment, though, because Hardison's because it wouldn't make sense because Hardison grew up in foster care. And so, he's not used to having, people he chose his family around. And I'm thinking, so I just realized this. That's probably why he's so, he was the one who was at first, he was the first one, if you think about it, to be I want to keep doing this together because I had a cool time. But I wonder if that was his first real, he just has that easy attachment to people because that's what he's used to.
Yep. Quick attachment, and that actually does come from kids in foster care and stuff. They attach themselves really quickly to people.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's also, it also kind of stems from the fact that, personally, I think, I don't know if this is legitimate. I know Parker is got hesitism, but I think Hardison has more of the ADHD physical attachment to things, people, places, objects, hobbies, that sort of thing. And so when he's actively you can visibly see that there's some physical, actual shock in his eyes and on his face. I think it's like the quick attachment to things, the not wanting to let go of stuff
Especially during like
or
the
people.
that first episode,
Yeah. Even in
and then
this, you can still see like he just doesn't want to
yeah,
pull away
yeah,
from
like he doesn't
people.
want to, especially like Sophie at that
Yeah.
particular moment. Um,
Yep.
but kind of
Speaking
carrying
from
on.
experience here, I do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been friends for 6 years now, so like,
No, but like in my actual life
I,
with
oh
my
yeah,
like coworkers and stuff, I get so attached to them. And like,
yeah. I think me and you were like instant friends, though.
it took a little bit.
I feel wait,
It took about a month.
honestly, it's been so long that I kind of forget.
Yeah, it's been about. It took about a month for us to have like a friendship
Hmm.
and actually like label it. But we clicked pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's hard for me as someone who's diagnosed ADHD slash autistic to make friends in real life. So
Hmm.
that's why I connect to these characters so deeply. It's like, hey, they understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
They struggle with making connections. Parker struggles with making connections with people and
Hmm.
understanding social cues like I do, and gets really overwhelmed really quickly and doesn't understand her emotions. Um, there are some times where I'm like, what the am I feeling right now?
Hmm.
And
So
we even see some of that in this episode a little bit too.
yeah, with
Of
like
how they
Parker,
react to the to like it going
Sophie's
sideways. They you can
ex
see
too.
how they react. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. Alright, so moving on a bit. At the funeral, though, we find out that like the main reason they're having a funeral is to see like if anyone shows up who could be a suspect and who sent Sophie the bomb. And our first suspect comes in, and we meet Marcus Stark, played by Griffin Dunn. He now Marcus or now Stark is this like a grifter forger who used to work with Sophie, and so and Sophie, sees him. She kind of like panic, like leaves for a minute, and then what's funny is Marcus or Stark and Nate then start playing the game of what do you know without asking what do you know, because they're very clearly like trying to like size each other up to figure out like, okay, is this actually one of his like Sophie's like fake friends, or is this like someone who actually knows what she does? And they're both doing it to each other, and they know the other one's doing it to the other. So it's a little bit of a more complicated version of who's on first.
Well, actually, to me, it's more of like a complicated like uh psychological analysis of each other,
Yeah,
like sizing up
like,
your opponent, but
a
in
bit
a more twisted way.
in a way only two masterminds would be able to do.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, Sophie gets all pissed off that Stark's there, so they got to go back to the bar and explain some things. Because Hardison's trying to find out who planted the bomb. Sophie suspects it's Stark, and that's when she starts explaining her history with Stark, how they used to work together. And I'm pretty sure they also were a little bit more than friends.
I got that vibe too. At one point, probably they were more than friends.
Especially because what's funny is Elliot picks up on it. He hops over the couch. Of course, he's wearing like a hat, and he sits on his couch. He has like his arms like being like this, and he's like, "Okay, what bugs you more, the fact that he was Sophie's first, or that he outsmarted you, and he has this grin on his face that is like, I am stirring a shit pot right now, and I am loving it.
He, well, actually, it was more of like, I'm poking the bear and I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah, he has fully caught on to the fact that right now Nate is jealous as fuck that Sophie worked with Stark when he was chasing her, like literally like chasing her. I just find that so fucking funny that that one thing out
It's
of that entire
hilarious.
conversation, and that's what Elliot focuses on,
Of
is
course.
Nate's jealousy over that, and it's like, okay, what bugs you more? Like, because it's the two things that are Nate's weaknesses: anything involving Sophie and his intellect, and he nailed both on the fucking head by asking, "Are you essentially what he's essentially asking is, are you jealous that Sophie was fucking Stark before you even could or wanted to? Or are you more pissed off at the fact that he outsmarted you?"
Exactly.
I just fucking love that.
I love that too, and it's hilarious.
I just love that so much. So,
But what was
uh,
even funnier is his reaction to it. Nate's reaction to it. He's like, "You better
move,
stop them, I smack you."
I mean, he doesn't
Um,
deny it. He just says, moving on.
he's like, I'm gonna ignore this.
Like, I'm not going to dignify that response, even though my non response is a response. Anyway, so Sophie thinks that Stark, yeah, Sophie thinks that Stark wanted her dead because he was pulling a scam, or he's pulling a con, and he did like the smaller one before he does the bigger one. And and that it was just unfortunate that their target was the painting they were after, and that he must have saw her freaked out because she knew his like what Kanye's he likes to do, what he likes, and that kind of stuff. And it's because his favorite scam is the Mona Lisa variant, which is based on the real Mona Lisa scam when it was stolen back in the day. The person who stole it made like 6 forgeries of the Mona Lisa, kept the original, and then pawned off the fakes as the original. So he got 6 paydays for one painting and got to keep the original.
Of
And
course.
so that's the painting that they're going to that so but they realize that also, it's but they're using sorry, so Stark's main target is this Van Gogh painting, a cafe on a moonlit terrace. Now, this one I can actually show. Cafe on a moon terrace. Sorry, I did not think this. No, that's not what I want. Okay, this works. Okay. Uh, I'm just gonna share. Uh, so this is what the painting actually looks like. I can
Yeah,
show
it's
this
pretty.
one because it's just a moonlit terrace.
This one's
I'm not.
pretty.
Don't ignore everything else. Just focus on the painting. So yeah, that's the painting that uh, they're going after.
It's really pretty.
It is a pretty
The picture
painting.
doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, yeah, it is a really pretty painting. And so, And also, Stark really likes Van Gogh paintings, so if he knows this, and that's why she knows they're going after that. She also knows his preference for going after auctions, not art galleries, as auctions. He could find easy marks, so it's like two birds, one stone. So, but first, they got to steal the cafe on a moonlit terrace painting. They got to steal the Van Gogh essentially. So they do that, or they had to do that, and Sophie kind of makes is stuck in the van with Hardison, and Sophie kind of makes a comment. It's like, that was some nice things you said at my funeral, and Hardison says, we trust Nate, we trust Nate to make the plans, but we trust you to make sure we're all okay. And coming from Hardison, that's like the ultimate compliment. And I love that he is the character that's sort of like he's the moral compass.
Yep.
Like it's like however Hardison's feeling is what everyone else is feeling, including the audience. And so yeah, carrying on just a bit. Uh of course during the during this heist, the rival team is there. So we have Parker facing off against Apollo. We have Elliot and Mikkel imagining their fight. Be like, okay, if I move this way, you're gonna move that way. This is what's gonna result. I don't like that. Run it again, and they keep doing that without actually hitting one another. Hardison has a good, the bad, and the ugly style Western fight, and with the spaghetti Western music. With chaos. And I'm gonna introduce these characters in a minute when they
that
go.
that part right there made me laugh so hard.
It's so
But
funny.
but I like the fact that with what's funny is that Apollo taught Parker how to Parker, pretty
That
much.
is true. So
Freaking funny. I
continuing
love
on.
it.
So because once they get back to the apartment, Nate does a rundown on Stark's whole crew, uh, who Stark put together to steal. Well, they stole the Klimt to essentially be a practice run and to test the team, make sure they can all work together by stealing like painting with less stakes before going after the main painting with the bigger stakes.
Yeah, like basically a trial run.
Yeah, it's a trial run, and so the thief on Stark's team, who Nate calls Apollo, is played by the actual Apollo Robbins. He was known as the gentleman thief. He was a world class, a real life Parker. Essentially, he is a world class pickpocket. And what did he? I saw a behind the
He
scenes
picked
clip where they
he uh
manipulate.
he
There's a term he
like
likes
he
to use because he doesn't actually use his skills for malicious intent. He uses it to for demonstration and magic purposes only,
yeah. But
and to teach law enforcement stuff too,
like how to spot a pickpocket better and everything.
that kind of stuff.
But what was funny is he actually got caught at one point pickpocketing the president of the United States.
Oh yes, yeah. Yes, he did. I forgot
And
about
he's
that.
like, yeah, he even said in the interview, I saw like the behind the scenes of this episode. He goes, yeah, it was after that that I realized that I wasn't as good as I thought I was.
His like father was a minister, and like his brothers went into crime, and so like somehow he combined those two things.
Yeah, but yeah, he would be someone I would love to like meet and talk to. It's
That's
like,
I
how,
I would
I
have
want
known.
to know how
What
was
happened
it to train Parker to be Parker?
and yes, Apollo Robbins is actually the technical advisor on Leverage, I don't know if he did all 5 seasons.
Um, I
I
think
know
he
he
did up until season 4.
yeah, but he's the technical advisor for like the thiefy stuff. So yes, he
Yeah,
essentially
for
got Beth Riesgraf to be Parker,
yeah.
and which
And
is
then
funny that they were
like
looking for,
he'd show her something. He'd show her like how to do a lift off of somebody, like a wallet or something, or
and then
keys or a
work
key card or
like
whatever.
trying to make it look.
And then she even said I would go practice on Apollo,
Yeah,
Christian. I would practice on Dean, John Rogers. I would practice on the team to get it right.
if I ever met
And
Beth Riesgraf, I'd be like, after like we hugged over there, I'd be patting my pockets, being like, "Did you check my wallet?" Even though I wouldn't have it on me, just to fuck with her a little bit.
but
And
I
it
think
says,
he even said that there was an interview that he did after he did Leverage. He's like, yeah, it. He was surprised at how quickly Beth picked up some of the stuff.
"Oh yeah,
Like he like had a lockpick and all that stuff.
yeah." She's apparently like really good at all this stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, so after Apollo,
And I have to bring this out because why not?
go ahead. Oh, is that your lock picking set?
This is the see-through lock that
Your practice
I'm
lock
currently working on.
in your lock pick set.
I've mastered this one.
Oh my god. I thought about doing that.
This is just a basic lock uh, mechanism like a door. And then this,
By the way, guys, this is for educational purposes only.
yes,
We do not
this
condone
is the
the use of
lockpick
these
set.
skills for actual thievery purposes. But
And
it will save you $70 from having to call the locksmith.
true. And okay, so I don't know how well this is. I'm gonna demonstrate kind of like how he actually taught her. So
Oh,
this is
okay.
the rake.
Sit down.
Yep, this
Okay.
is the rake, and then this is like your support pry bar. Let's see if I can do this. It's been a minute since I've
You're
messed
fine.
with this,
I'm just drinking my drink.
and you kind of put a little bit of pressure like that.
Mhm.
Oh, it already popped. That's awesome. And then you stick this in here and just kind of fidget, and voila.
Ah.
And I already knew what section to click.
Depends, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so
and
I wasn't expecting to
it
have a
was
lot.
like the third one down. This one right here.
Uh-huh.
And I can do it on both sides on this one.
Eh.
Which, if I do say so myself, that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I'd say that is
And
pretty.
I can't get the bigger padlock yet, but I will. And it's also helped with my dexterity as well with my
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, and it's
Um,
like a little party trick, but also like if you
it's a good hand-eye coordination thing as well.
lock yourself out of your car, lock your keys in the car,
Lock yourself out of your house. I've
lock yourself
had
out
to go help Nico actually get back into his house because he locked himself out. But yeah,
of
the practice.
wasn't
Yeah, the
good.
practice thing comes with 2 keys. So that's how I could see which one to push. And that's what I'm doing with this one too.
Nah. So I am going to move on just a bit to talk about the hitter on Stark's crew, Mikhail Diane, who is ex Mossad, like Ziva Davids. But she's has a military background like Elliot. It was funny is Elliot like here's her name is like Mikhail Diane. I know that name. And Hardison immediately clocks is like, you were scared to fight a girl. That's Hardison, she will whoop your ass with the
And
Bible.
then some.
Yeah. And Hardison's like, I don't care.
But
Yeah,
I mean, because
she's whooping your ass.
I've kind of deduced that Elliot has like a
Some like special,
some sort of special forces training.
yeah,
Probably if I had to guess, Delta Force. If I had to guess, or
maybe.
something like that. So he probably crossed paths with Mossad operatives and probably crossed paths with her at one point.
Well, I'll get into that when we get towards the end of the episode. But yeah, so that's kind of who the
But
head is.
not like in the way that you're going to say, but
No, no, yeah,
possibly in other ways. He's probably come across Mossad, so he
yeah,
recognized that pretty quickly and like
yeah,
ID'd her just by
yeah,
prior knowledge.
yeah. And then the hacker on Stark's team is Colin, aka Chaos, played by Will Wheaton of Star Trek fame.
Yep.
And of course, Hardison has to get personally offended that the CIA calls Chaos the Kobayashi Maru. Would you like
Which
to explain that?
it is an unbeatable odds from I believe it's Star Trek or something, where it's also on a video game as well. No matter how you approach it, you cannot get out of that situation. It's as the Marines would say, foobar. It's
Fubar.
fucked up. You can't get out.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
It's an unbeatable odd. And that is a Star Trek reference.
Yes.
And I find that hilarious because Will Wheaton and Jonathan Frakes.
Right. Yes, he is in. And so uh and I find this next scene interesting because Sophie, because of course Elliot asked Sophie, like what's he gonna do next? He doesn't specify who, he just says he. And Sophie's like, he's gonna like up, he's been challenged, he's gonna up the stakes, go with the bigger, riskier plan. And it's clear she's talking about both men essentially. Because then we see a mashup of scenes with Nate explaining the plan and then Marcus explaining the plan like intercut. And then at the end they're like both putting on their jackets at the same time and it's like, let's go steal ourselves a masterpiece. And I just find that shot so interesting because we have mirrors. This is like an episode of mirrors essentially because you have like you have the two rival crews, you have the two thieves, you have the two hitters, you have the two hackers, and you have the two masterminds. And they're each like equal in their skill sets.
Yep.
And so I just had a realization that I want to save for the end because it's going to hit better at the ending. But moving on. So, of course, the plan is to go to the auction house to steal the Van Gogh. And of course, the rival crew is there. So, Sophie, like we see the police car pulled up, they're all getting ready. Nate's setting off an alarm. Parker's climbing in the vents, Hardison's hacking. And then this is when shit starts going wrong because Stark spots Nathan and is saying, "Hi, I'm Nathan Ford with the insurance company," which is funny. And then we have, Elliot and Mikkel fighting in the steamy boiler room. I'll get to the conclusion of that in a minute. And we also have Apollo and Parker meeting in the vents, talking shop. And though the fight between Eliot and Mikkel. Because what's funny is they walk in, Elliot's taking off his jacket, Mikkel's taking off hers, and she's like, "You wouldn't touch a girl, would you?" And then Eliot says in Hebrew, "Not unless she hits me first." And of course, she hits him, and he says in Hebrew that counts. So they start fighting, and as the fight goes on, they get soaked with the steam, and Elliot cuts his head. And they had to do that to explain why Christian Kane had a cut on his forehead because the motherfucker decided to do his own fight scene and the top hat job where he cracked his head on the corner of the box. So this is why this episode he had to wear beanies and hats to hide the cut on his forehead while he healed. But they could get away with having it out in this scene because he cracked his head on the steam pipe.
Yeah. So they just
And
played it off as he got hurt again.
hurt again. So Mikkel ends up in her they don't take off pants or nothing. She just entered her black lacy bra. Which why would you wear a bra that nice to a fight? I mean, come on. Granted, I don't own a bra that nice. Okay, I have a bras from 10 years ago. Don't judge me. Anyways, Ellie's just in a black tank top, which does very well with his muscles. I will say that.
I mean,
Joe, the gun shows a popping.
it was hot.
The show was a popping, and they start tussling.
Yep, and then he
And they lock,
basically does a double arm lock.
and then they
And I
kiss.
immediately paused it when I watched this episode. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, that had to be awkward.
And then you hear the clink of the silver bracelets. And what's funny is they're looking at each other because they know what happened, and they're looking at each other and be like, okay, this is a turn of events, and I'm not entirely mad about it.
Yep.
Which I'm taking that as canonical confirmation that Elliot likes the handcuffs, but I'm a fan fiction writer. What do you expect out of me?
I mean, the look on his face says it all. He's like, I'm okay with that.
He's like, I'm not mad about this turn of events. Yeah.
I mean, he's an Oklahoma boy. Country kid. Of course he's gonna like something like that. Christian, I'm sorry, but that's what came to my head. Don't
Look,
come at
it's
me.
the fictional character, not the actual person. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after all that, it turns out Sophie was the one driving the cop car. And Stark actually had no idea that Sophie was still alive because it was not Stark that planted the vase bomb. It was Chaos. And
Of course it was.
identify it being Chaos once they identified the crew. And Chaos, of course, has a "if it wasn't for those meddling kids" moment.
I mean, his town was like,
Bit of a
if it
Scooby
wasn't
Doo.
for those meddling kids, I'm like, this is it gave Scooby Doo vibes, and I was here for it.
Like, I had this double cross perfect plan, and then you're telling me you want to bring on Sophie Devereaux. And I can't beat Sophie Devereaux. And spoiler alert, Stark, it wasn't you people were scared of, it was her. Which, you know what? Adding in the later context of how Sophie gets sometimes, if you think about it in season 4 with the Lonely Hearts job, when she walks up to the Black Widow. Well, no, not Black Widow. No, yes, Black Widow, because I had a string of dead ex-husbands. Sophie walking up to her, and then like, and especially when she confronts Bly in like Redemption,
Oh,
and then in season three, even when or season two and season three, when she meets like characters who dare threaten her team, she goes full on Mama Bear, and I love that development. And this is kind of like the first peek we have at that because Sophie starts strutting up to Stark, being like, "What did you think I was dead?" And also, like at the funeral, she calls him a murderous, backstabbing bastard. Or
it
it was a string of names. Okay, it was a string of names.
was awesome.
It was. And Hardison actually has a hand crank that's able to get his stuff back up, so he's able to beat chaos. And then Parker's obviously able to flip through the lasers to get to Apollo. She flips her jacket inside out to look like a police jacket. Points a gun at Apollo, acting like she's arresting him. And then, uh, yeah. And also, it turns out Chaos's plan wasn't just to murder Sophie. It was to kill Stark because Sophie points out, be like, if we hadn't come, like, if we hadn't stopped you, when do you think you would be going to your car? And Stark's like, well, right about now. And then his car blows up. And he's like, that little son of a bitch. Because, Chaos tried to kill him. So, yeah, Stark agrees to trade the Klimt for the Van Gogh. They head to the bar and kind of force Stark to hand over the Klimt to like the elderly brother and sister who are like so grateful about this. And of course, Stark's like, whatever, like you think this is noble, but like in reality, you know how many laws you broke to do this? Like you're not as good as you think you are. Or I guess it's more like moral. Um, and kind of again with the Black King, White Knight motif. But yeah, so but what's funny is so during like this scene, they're all at the bar. Parker and Hart or no, Apollo are kicking locks, trying to see who can do it faster, I guess. Eliot and Mikkel are sharing scar stories, and Eliot he like lifts up his shirt, has his like bicep out. Yeah, I'm pale. Yeah, I'm not Christian King. Leave me alone. Anyways, he has like his bicep flexing, and you see the scar, and he's like sniper, 2003, like Neomar. And then Mikkel's like, I was a sniper in Myanmar. And you see Elliot like pause
His
for him,
face dropped.
be like, what year? And she's like, 2003, which by the way was the year I was born. Anyways, so yeah, it is very possible that Mikkel shot Elliot and then made out. And then what's funny is she pulls out the handcuffs and Elliot grabs her and says, no, 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 we can't have that. As Horson's walking across. It is looking at it like, it's a man there. Handcuffs. Oh, nasty.
That was the funniest part. It was like, you guys are gross.
Nasty. Sorry, it's just too funny to me because Hardison's obviously a child on the internet. He's seen some shit. Handcuffs should be like the down here on the tier of shit he's seen on the internet. And that's all I'm gonna say about that conversation. But anyways, so we also find out that Nate and Sophie, that at the last minute, they swapped the painting out with the fake, or they swapped the Van Gogh out with one of Marcus's own, or with one of Stark's own fakes, and then had Chaos get arrested at customs on his flight to Paris, which it would technically would have been TSA
Yep.
because I think it's because he's trying to get on a flight to Paris. Now this is Boston.
No, it would be customs.
Airport knowledge comes in, so this would have to be TSA because you don't go through customs before you get on the plane. So Chaos would have had to go
Or it could be international security.
Boston.
It could be international security because if you're going on an international flight, it would be the section for that because they do have for international flights. They have a special section from what I've read.
I know the airport that Chaos would have
Yeah.
had to go through is Boston Logan International Airport, which I've been to, by the way. I did not see an international terminal, but I was nowhere near international stuff.
But yeah, they do. They do have an international terminal.
Okay, so then I'm wrong. That would make sense then. If it was customs, but it was going on the plane to,
Yep.
he said it's flight to Paris leaves in 10 minutes, which would mean he's probably flying to Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. This is where working at an airport helps with things, and I'm excited to get to season 4 Cross My Heart Job because that's the actual airport episode that I would love to talk about knowing when I know about airports. But also, don't be like Chaos and say that your flight leaves in 10 minutes. Okay, if your flight leaves in 10 minutes and you're trying to get through security, you are not making your flight.
Yep. That's
Okay.
why when we flew,
it says on
Yeah.
your ticket that boarding ends 20 minutes before departure.
Yep. So he wouldn't have been let on the plane regardless.
But on the plane regardless.
Yep.
You wouldn't have been on the plane.
Can I tell this little, since this is kind of
that's out, but yes, go on.
I've had an experience with TSA before, and it was
you told me this
uncomfortable shit.
Yeah, you told me this story.
Yeah, I set off a metal detector.
So then, they gotta give you a pat down once you set it off.
Yep.
Now,
and I could see on the screen of what area set it off. One with my pants.
Button.
I had little decorations on my pants because those were the only pants that I had clean to wear home.
Yeah. Yep,
my bracelet that I had forgotten to take off, and then my medical alert necklace that I do not take off regardless. Set it off, and I could feel it was over my heart, my wrist, and then my
chest.
And then somehow my bra underwire set it off too.
Yep. Okay.
That's
so
fucking weird.
We're getting.
That was an older. It was an older system. To be fair.
Yeah. No. And
the newer one isn't as hypersensitive.
Yeah, the newer ones aren't as sensitive. I will say that, but still, travel PSA because it's getting to the holiday travel season coming up in a couple months. Make sure you dress comfortable. Make sure what you're wearing won't set off a metal detector. I usually go for yoga pants and a t-shirt, no bra, but that's just personal preference. And make sure you have your shit together before you get in line. As you're waiting in line, get out like your ID, your boarding pass. Don't be waiting until you get up to the podium to get your ID out. Make sure it's a real ID. All right.
Or do what I do. I have it in my hand as I walk into the airport.
Yep, 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 yep. That works too. That works
Yep.
too. Just at a minimum, have it ready while you're waiting in line. At a minimum.
Yep. Or step out of line if you need to look for it.
Or just don't get in line until like you get out your
Exactly. But
because
yeah,
trust
and then
me, you will get
well, granted, this was a smaller airport. It was from like Wichita area to this
which
little baby airport in Charlotte, and then to another sub airport.
is around.
It was the in between, and it was on a baby flight. Literally, 2 seats, 1 seat, small,
Oh,
and it was in. And I got the best TSA agent ever, and I go, this is my first time ever getting patted down. And she goes, oh, honey, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to make sure you don't have anything sharp on you. I can see what set it off. Your necklace probably set it off, and your pants maybe. And I go, okay. And she's like, I'm just going to, she talked me through it. She's like, I'm just going to check
typically, as long as you're
your
nice
necklaces and
to
stuff,
PSOs, they're
pat you
nice to
down, make sure. And then I'm just going to do it once over. I'm going to check underneath. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can just look away. And that's what I did. I stared at her headband that she was wearing,
works too.
like over her shoulder the entire time,
Last
while crying.
travel TSA or PSA. Be nice to your TSO officers because if you're not nice to them, they will talk back to you. Okay,
Yep.
they'll talk back to
And
you.
the fact that this lady was super sweet, she could tell I was fucking nervous,
And you will
and I
be
was literally like in
person
tears
out all
because
day. Talk to me about
yeah, I was in tears, and we were like the only like family. Um, we were like the only family that had gotten there. We'd gotten there early.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the whole
And
character idea before you get up to the podium
yeah,
because
and
they'll also be grumpy with you if you don't have your shit together, and so will your other passengers, especially busy travel holidays.
but yeah, like we had gotten to this terminal like early,
Oh, no, yeah.
and so we were the only ones there for a little bit.
Between 2 to 3 hours early, 2.5 hours if you're a domestic flight. I would say push it to 3 if you're not checking bags and you know it's going to be busy because of holidays. Push it to 3. Be safe. Okay,
And
don't
if
be
you
the
can,
airport
get yourself a pre-approved so you can kind of skip the line.
pre-check.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've done that several times, and it's actually worked a lot better. But my,
Mhm.
what was funny is when my brother and I we were flying back from San Diego, the lucky motherfucker got to keep his shoes on because he was military and got to keep his dog tags on walking through the metal detector because he showed
Oh,
his military ID.
yeah.
Lucky
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah. That's my travel PSAs. Keep an eye on my TikTok for a more in-depth one. Coming
But
soon.
yeah, that experience still
Coda,
gave
hold
me
on.
fucking
Gotta
nightmares.
go, I gotta go yell at my cat. Coda,
I
down.
know.
Thank you. Be good.
What
Anyways,
was
I'm
my
gonna
fur niece doing? What was she doing?
just getting into a tray. Not in like food noises on it, but she's just getting into it and on my table. Anyway, so so at this airport, Chaos gets arrested with the fake paintings and the original. So we get to the last scene, which I really love this scene because Sophie's standing at her grave, except it's not Catherine Clive's grave anymore. It's Sophie Devereaux's. And Sophie's standing there. Nate walks over and start talking, and Sophie says how like she starts saying how like how lost she's been and like she's gotten so wrapped up in like having her multiple identities that like she's forgotten who the real Sophie Devereaux was. And like Nate's her best friend, and yet she's never heard him say her real name. So it's just like it's like she's like hurts her to know that because she never had a friend who knew the real her. And Nate's the closest person to that. And then not sure yet, but Joseph Lucas starts playing in the background, which I think is the most beautiful song ever on Leverage. And it accompanies this scene perfectly because the lyrics is, I'm not sure yet about life, about love, but in time, I'm sure it'll all be fine. And it's about like being the song's about being like unsure about like about things and like who you are and like who you love and all that stuff. And that's what Sophie's going through. And Nate leans in for a kiss. Sophie leans in, and just as they're about to touch, Sophie tilts her head, turns, and walks away.
Yep.
What the freaking tension in that scene? Oh my fucking god. The tension. They were so close. They were so close. And I remember when I saw that scene for the first time, I was watching it, and I was like, they're gonna kiss. And then I saw someone who was like, what the fuck? Because it was so close and I'm kissing. But then Sophie pulled away, which probably was like the thing that should have happened. But god damn it, pulled on my heartstrings. And that's how the episode ends. With
And
Sophie
then it
leaving.
kind of leaves it on a cliffhanger a little bit, which I
Yeah,
loved.
yeah, it leaves like that plot point on a cliffhanger, and that's the end of the episode. So yeah, I just really love this episode. But yeah, this is the last episode where we see Sophie Devereaux in like person, where she's. I say in person as it's like the last episode we see her with the team, like where she's in the same room with them until
For
the season.
now.
Yeah, until the season 2 finale, and that is because Gina Bellman went on maternity leave. And what's
She
funny
was
is
pregnant.
see all like the probs high in her belly. But yeah, so yeah, which I'm
It was a
actually
nice little. It was a nice little send off, actually.
yeah, like it wasn't like a goodbye. It was like a see you later because it's obvious like Sophie was gonna come back at some point. It was just this was the journey she needed to go on to find herself. And I think, at this point, Sophie, because, we have like Nate's, uh, he's gotten to a point where he thinks he's in control and he wants to love Sophie. But Sophie was dating another guy, and that even caused Nate to nearly relapse. And if you remember, the song that is playing in the first episode when Nate's about to relapse is Not Sure Yet. I think it's just the instrumental portion, but it's the same song. And It was the fact that because Nate found out that Sophie was dating another guy, he nearly relapsed, but didn't. And now that like Sophie's leaving to go on this journey, he doesn't have her to pull himself back again, and we'll see the consequences of that. And in a later episode, the bottle job, which is the episode where Nate does relapse. And I'll delve more into that when we talk about the episode, because that's like arguably it's one of the most important episodes. It's one of I don't know if I would say it's the most important episode of the season, but it's a pretty big episode for the season, and yet it's a bottle episode, which I think is genius. And again, I'll talk about that when we get to the bottle job. But I also like having like mirrors. I find that interesting with the two teams having mirrors with the teams, and the one thing that Marcus didn't have in his group was a grifter, and the reason so like Nate's team, like our leverage team, was able to get ahead is because they had a Sophie. If you think about it, and I do want to talk about this fight scene between Mikkel and Eliot, because it's just the dynamic of it. You have two very good looking people, and yet they're both on the same playing field. Usually in like a fight scene like that, it would be like the woman, the one who's getting like sexualized, but instead the sexuality is like part of the fight, but it's also with on both sides. And I find that really interesting because you don't see that a lot when it comes to female fight scenes.
Yep.
So at least that's how I view it.
It was a nice change up actually, which was kind of
It
cool.
was, and I also thought this episode was really well written, and I love this like identity arc that they've set up for Sophie to not only explain why Gina Bowman had to be away for a while, but it was such an important character thing for not only everyone else, because now we're about to see how the team does when they're missing their heart. Their emotional their, I think, touchstone is the right word. How does this team do without their touchstone? And I feel like that's an interesting concept that in these movies you don't see very often, is like what happens when the crew gets shaken up, because Sophie leaves in order, she's going on this identity journey. And actually, Sophie's identity journey inspired my own identity journey. And I think that's amazing that they did that. And I think it's a much better treatment of a character or of an actress going on maternity leave than I've seen. And yes, I'm talking about Josh Whedon, because he's kind of a piece of shit. And he
Yep.
fucked up the event. He fucked up the Avengers Age of Ultron movie. So, yeah. I mean, those are kind of all my notes. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Alex?
Nope, because I didn't do any notes.
Do you have any like final thoughts?
I just
Like
liked
comments?
how I kind of liked how they left it kind of open ended of the way that I thought about it. It was like it was giving her the opportunity to either step away permanently or come back, Sophie. Um,
Yeah.
and I kind of resonated with the fact that she was burying her old life in a way,
Hmm.
trying to find herself. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
she like
nah,
had on
I can
so
relate to that because that's what I'm currently doing right now,
yeah,
trying to
like
figure
she
out.
put on so many different masks
Yeah,
that she's starting to forget who her real self is. So she needs to be away from like influence, like, and she needs to be away from her team and like the people she cares about, so she's can make this decision on her own. And I honestly like understand that completely because there was a period. I mean, I still like talk to you pretty regularly, but there was a period when I first moved out that, and then I started getting busy with work. I had lost myself trying to like build myself back up again, that I isolated a bunch of people out of my life.
yeah,
And then, like I was lucky enough that when I got my job at Clear, I was able to work with just one job,
yeah. And I
and I'm
think I
and I'm
I
still
also
able to
kind
do
of
that pretty
I kind of
comfortable.
helped pull you out of that, and
You did, you did,
I mean,
no, you did.
yeah, that's kind of where you kind of connect a little bit with Sophie because you had me to pull you out of it. She has the whole team to be able to kind of say, "We're here for you when you need us to pull you out."
Yeah, and then I was going through like I was going through a couple of breakups at the time and then you know, funny enough, part of the reason I changed jobs was I wanted um I wanted more social life. But in reality it was because I just wanted to make more friends and I couldn't do that if I couldn't go out, but then I never went out anyways. And I also was trying to I think salvage my last relationship. But I think if I was available more, that would help. I mean, and it was a higher paying job, so I didn't have to work two jobs. And but then, we ended up breaking up, and like that did honestly like fuck me up a bit
Yep,
because I blame myself. And you were privy to the more what really like what went down. I don't want to get too into like what actually happened, but let's just say I was like blaming myself a lot for like what happened. I
yep.
still
But I was there to
was
tell you
well.
knock it the fuck off.
Yeah, and
When I
also you made me see that it wasn't my fault. And, like I didn't realize how things had gone until like it was over. So like I completely understand like
I mean,
Sophie.
and I saw it. I saw it from a mile away. You were dealing with kind of a narcissist, if I'm honest, and I've experienced that.
Yeah,
So I can
and
kind of
that
I can kind
also
of
is
pinpoint it.
that's still something I'm kind of dealing with in therapy because I'm the daughter of a narcissist. So you think I would have known, but
Yes,
no,
but I
is
was raised with one. My brother, actually.
yeah, but yeah. So you get it.
Yep.
Mm,
And that would explain why I went through some of the psychological shit that he put me through, and some of the physical stuff too,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't
which
want to be
you
done
know
too.
about, and that's why in
Yeah,
certain situations I don't like to be touched.
yeah, yeah.
And
And I
it
don't want to
freaks
be
me out.
delving too much into like our personal lives.
But
But no, I do like
and I
point
think
being
that's why at the end of this episode, Sophie herself was pulling away because she's like, I need to figure something out
like I need to
um
figure out who I
for
am and
herself.
like can't
And
be around the people who are enabling me to
yeah, and she
continue.
was at a loss of like kind of what to do. She was at what I would call a crossroads.
Yeah, she is at a crossroads
Um,
because she's like I don't know who I am anymore.
yeah,
Like the like I just
and
got
we've
broken.
all been there.
It's just like the guy I do love. Like he's not in a place to have a healthy relationship, and I can't be around right now. I can't be around him right now while I'm still trying to figure this out. So I have to leave, even if it hurts me to do so.
Yep.
And I think that's why Sophie will come back in part of the reason why Sophie comes back in the finale. And I'll delve more into like what I mean when I say this, but I think she like after her phone call with or got she got the phone call from Nate, she realized just how broken she left him essentially. And so
Yeah.
she's doing that. Like she came back to not only try and fix Nate, but
Well, I think
probably
it was she was trying to not really fix him, but be there for him to kind of help him through what was going on.
yeah. And then Nate had to get fucking hurt and get himself arrested to save the team. Sophie was well in her rights to slap him, by the way.
Yep.
She is well within her rights to slap him because I would have done that too. But yeah, I
Same.
mean,
I would have slapped him.
so I don't have any other. Uh, I don't have any other notes. Do you have any other notes?
Nope.
All right, so I'm gonna start wrapping up. So once again, I want to thank our sponsor, Prairie Ponds. You can listen to Prairie Ponds and Bigfoot Country 102.1 WIFT at lovemybigfoot.com or the Love My Bigfoot app from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on weekdays. If you, I'd like to thank our other sponsor, napgo.org. If you want to support us and support the podcast, you can buy a coffee on Films and Fandoms. I have the links in the chat. We do have a Discord. That's the invite code. I don't know how else to link that Discord. This is our Instagram, FN Fandoms with Kaylee and Lex. This is our Twitter, FN Fandoms. Facebook, Films and Fandoms. Also, you could go on my website, Kaylee's Still Acting. You can follow me on Twitter at MissMovieFan_67, TikTok at MovieFan_67. You could follow Alex on Instagram at Alex_the Alley Cat, on Twitter at Alex the Alley Cat, TikTok Alex the Alley Cat. And if you go on Facebook, Ma Filmworks is the Facebook of my good friend Typist 5 Productions and Michael Gaffner. So if you want to see what Filmworks is up to, check them out on Facebook to see what they got. I had to double check, but the next episode of Leverage that we're going to be talking about is season 2, episode 8, The Iceman Job.
That's gonna be a fun one.
It's going to be a fun one, and we're going to be seeing you again, Alex.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Yes. All right, so Alex is actually able to join us. We're going to be switching the podcast to Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Though I might move it closer to 8:30
Just in
Eastern
case.
time. But, we'll talk about that off screen. But yeah, it feels good to be back, baby. It feels good to be back. It's good to be back. So I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye, everyone.